Alright, in this video what I'm going to do is create different titles and show them how they can be moved in different ways. So I'm going to grab the clips that I already have in here, and maybe I need to put a title in here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I can go to title and then new title and go to default still. And for something like this, what I'm going to do is just create something simple. So I'll just type in title, and I can do Control A to select all. And for font size, let's just go ahead and make it a little bit larger. Again, you can just click on there too if you want. And I'm going to go 250. Alright. And if I use my selection tool, I can move it around and change the properties and whatnot. I can also use my arrow keys if I want to be really precise when I'm moving it. But that's not really necessary. Okay, so I'm not going to do anything else with this right now. I just want to throw just a generic title in there. If I go to my project, it should be down here. Here it is. And drop it in. Right now it's set for 5 seconds, which is fine. And I'm going to show you different ways you could animate this, for example. So I'm going to make sure I'm on that title, and right now I believe it's 5 seconds long. I can play it and see how long it goes. And I probably want to make it a little bit quicker than that, so I'm going to move this in just a little bit, so it's about 3 seconds. And again, I'm going to click on the title, and I have motion here, and I'm going to do is I'm going to move my cursor to the middle right here, and this is where I want it to be in the middle. So I'm going to do scale and position and also rotation, and go to the back to the beginning, and I'm going to actually move it. Now if I double click on it here, or I can double click it on there, oops, not double click it on there, I'm sorry, it brings up the title screen again, but I double click on here in the beginning. Let's say I do want the scale and position and rotation to be different, so I'm going to make this a little bit smaller, and I can hold down shift while I do this to keep the proportions, and I'm going to move it off camera here a little ways, and I'm also even going to rotate it a little bit. Okay, and so if I watch this now, it's I hit spacebar here, and here it comes zooming in, and it stays that size. But also what I want to do is I do want to rotate it, so I'm going to go to the beginning here, and I'm going to rotate it. I can't really see it, it's off camera right now, but if I zoom in, see it is coming in. And then in the end, I also want it to be off screen. So if I move this right now, and again I can just go to position, or sorry, motion, click on the motion here, and it brings up the constraining box. I am going to end up having it get larger. So and it's also again going to be dragged off screen. Alright, and it's going to continue to rotate. So actually I want to go negative rotation, I believe. Yep. And I'm going to go like negative 20 something. That's fine. Okay, so if I scrub through this, so here it is, title. So it's zooming in, rotating, and also doing that. Okay, and then the other thing I should consider is, and I want to make sure I'm back in the center, is adding an effect. So I'm going to go to effects down here and go to video effects. Here's blur and sharpen, and I am going to add Gaussian blur. And so I can drop that right on the title track right there, and I believe you can drag it up here as well. And I want it to be 100 right here. That's for sure. And then in the beginning, I want to have it blurred as well, so I can click the button there, and I want it to be blurred a lot. I'm going to say like 180. So when I scrub through this, you can actually see it's like not visible at all, and then I want it to get blurry at the end too. So again, I can set my mark towards the end here, and my blurriness way up over 200. And so when I watch this now, I just hit spacebar to see it. It's getting blurry and then blurs out again. It's kind of like the beginning of Lost, if you've ever seen that show. It's like things come in blurry, it has this weird sound effect, then it blurs out again. So I would definitely want to get a cinematic sound to this, otherwise it looks kind of just strange like that. And you know, maybe it's too fast. If I do go down here and stretch this out a little bit, what happens though is you can see that these are spaced differently now. I have, basically it's going to go through, and then after it gets past this point, it just stays in that corner and doesn't do anything. So what I can do is I can actually highlight all of these, okay, and I can drag them down some. And I could grab just these, highlight them like that, and drag them to the end. And so now when I watch it, it's a little bit slower. You know, depending on my sound effect, then maybe I would want to, you know, kind of drag this stuff out a little bit longer. Okay, so that's one way to do a title. And by the way, you see this gap I have here now? I should be able to, if I remember right, I should be able to, Well, no, let's not worry about that right now. Anyways, so here's my clip, and what I want to do here is add a video, and I'm going to use a preset. So, or no, I won't actually. I'll create one. I'm going to go to new title, default still again. Okay, and what I'm going to do is create one. All right, and just a few basic things. First, I'm going to grab the rectangle tool, and let's say this is a newscast. So I'm going to drag a box along the bottom here in the lower thirds, and change this color. And I can just click on the little color fill right here. Let's go with a bluish color. And they have all these options, and don't get overwhelmed. Just look at them, try them out, fill them in. So right now we're into the fill. And so what I can do is also add a sheen. Ooh, it's got this line going through. But if I want to make changes, I need to hit this little down arrow. And for my sheen, I'm going to go with like a goldish color down here and hit OK. And now it's just a line. It's not, I don't really like it just like that. So I can change the size of it. I can up this a little bit. Ooh. And if I want to make it look like really like a sheen, what I should probably do is change the opacity. So I'm going to drop that down a little bit. Okay. And it doesn't really look like a shine unless it's actually on an angle. So I'm going to also put it on a slight angle. Ooh, fancy. And other thing I should do is, and so that's all just in the fill, okay? And then I can also add a stroke. Stroke is the outside border, and so I'm going to add an outside stroke, and that stroke is going to be, I could grab like that same yellowish color, and you can see it's a very hard line right now, but if I want to soften that up, I could. You know, I could change the opacity down. Maybe I'll change this one down, but then make the size a little bit bigger, so you can kind of see them through that yellow. All right, and what else could I do to it? Now I'm going to leave that alone. Okay, so that's my stroke, and then also shadow. Shadow like will, let's turn it all the way up so you can see it. And you can offset it, like the distance of it. You know, you could set it down a little bit farther, and set it down a little bit, so that way it kind of lifts it off the page, lifts it off the video, which is nice. And you can change the size of it and whatnot too. And they have spread on there too. You know, you can make it wider or whatnot. Okay, something like that looks fine. Okay, so that's that. And the last thing I'd want to do is add text. So I'm going to click on my little text tool there. And when you go here, they have all these different text styles. Now these aren't just fonts, they're actual styles. Some have drop shadows, outer strokes or inner strokes, blurs, whatever else. So you can go and play with those. I'm going to go with this one right here, and I'm going to call this news at, oop, that's strange. There you go. News at 6. All right. And I can grab all of that. All right. And then change the font size. I did Control A, by the way, but I'm not sure if you need to do that. But I'm going to make this a little bit larger, and then I can grab my selection tool and go ahead and move it over here to the side here. News at 6. And let's say I wanted this exact font pretty much. I can do Control C to copy it, Control V to paste. It's going to take a little second. Should paste right on top of it, and then I can grab the other copy and then go in here, and then I can just double click on that, and I could say some sort of strange title. Alright, and I could make that smaller as well. So maybe this is my news story, and that's my channel, and I'm going to make this a little smaller and put it over here on the right side instead. Okay, and I'm going to close this out, and it should show up in my project folder. I'm going to drag this on top, and I can drag that throughout the entire thing, and there it is. So it looks pretty good to me. Everything will still work under it, and if I want to make changes to it, I just double click on it, and it brings it right back in. You make changes, and it'll show that. One other thing to consider is go into effects and actually have this fade in and fade out. I want to show you a new way of fading in and fading out if you don't know how to do this. You can also grab this little keyframe right here. Alright, and I'm going to go to the beginning now too and add another keyframe. And if I drag this all the way down, it's kind of like the audio thing. If I have this all the way down, it's basically going to fade in and fade out. So there it comes in, and if I want to fade out at the end, it only affects this later, so it's a little bit different than fade in and fade out, which is nice, because sometimes if you do dip to black, it affects the layers that are below it. So, and then it's going to fade out at the end here. So it should look something like that. It fades in, and there it is. So that's kind of nice. And the last type of title slide I want to show you is and by the way, you can hit Control T if you want to make a title slide, is rolling. So I can drop one of these arrows down. Right here's roll. All right, and I can say start off screen, end off screen. All right, and basically this is for credits. All right, so I'm going to have a huge list of credits. I'm just going to hit the type tool in here, and I'm going to say, you know, blah blah blah, and I'm just going to put a lot of text in here. It's kind of locking up on me though. Oh, there it goes. So I'm going to put some text in here, press enter a few times, and basically this little scrolling bar shows up, and it's going to let me go up and down, and that way I can see all of it. Okay. And again, I can affect that text any way I want, but I'm not going to spend any time on it. Okay, and I'm going to close that out. It's going to show up my project folder, and I'm going to drop it at the end here. Now when I play through this though, I'm going to hit spacebar so you can see it. It's going very fast because it's only set for 5 seconds. This might need more than 5 seconds, so I can drag this, and what it's going to do is basically space it out as the more you stretch it, the longer it'll take for the text to go by. So this is something a little more realistic. You can actually copy and paste text files. You know, just paste in whatever you need, and it'll show up real nice. All right, so that is the 3 different titles I wanted to show you. Go ahead and try them out, and good luck.